We're going to move on with a look through the international press with Flo Villamino. Hi there. We're going to start off over in the United States. John Boehner winning back his role as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
That's right. It was a close call for John Boehner. He's on the front page of the Washington Post today. You can see him hugging the House Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, there. Now, he survived a challenge from the Republican Party's more conservative wing, so you can see the Washington Post here talking about how he shook off a GOP rebellion. Now, Republicans, of course, have taken control of both chambers of Congress for the first time in 8 years, and they've vowed to make life very difficult for President Barack Obama. Let's take a look at the cartoon in the Washington Post today as well. It's by Tom Tolles. You can see the Republican Party here, scary-looking elephant, talking to itself, saying, I only have two things to remember. Don't be the stupid party. Don't be the scary party. Now, what were those two things I was supposed to remember? And that elephant there looking scary and with a dunce's cap.
I think it's fair to say that cartoonist is not a fan. OK, let's move on to Germany. Papers there focusing on anti-Islam demonstrations, papers in Germany and elsewhere in the world.
Absolutely. Slate's talking about how xenophobia is going mainstream in Germany. We've been talking a lot about these Pegida protests, as they're called, the German acronym for Patriotic Europeans Against the Islamization of the West. Now, Monday, there was the biggest rally yet in Dresden, 18,000 people taking part in this. The Wall Street Journal is taking a look at how all this is affecting German politics. Mainstream politicians, including the Chancellor Angela Merkel, have come out criticizing Pegida. But you can see here, this article focuses on how all this has really sparked a power struggle within the right wing, specifically one party, and that's the upstart populist party, Alternative for Germany. Alternative for Germany is a relatively new party. It was created just 2 years ago on an anti-Euro agenda, and it's since made incredible gains in Germany. Now, the rise of Pegida, though, has really ignited a leadership battle within the party that's actually threatening to tear it apart, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the bitter fight is over the party's future political course. There are really divisions over whether or not the party should show clear support for Pegida's xenophobic ideas or whether it should distance itself from it.
Okay, Germans very aware of all of this scrutiny coming down on them from the world.
Absolutely. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung is looking at how French people are reacting to these Pegida protests. They're paying very close attention. This article says the French are racking their brains over this German xenophobia, trying to compare it to their own political landscape. This article, for instance, wonders, is Pegida the German National Front? So that's the far-right party here in France. It's a kind of a curious thing for many French people because they wonder how this xenophobic movement could be gaining ground in Germany, where the economy is doing much better than the French economy. They have lower unemployment. Usually these are things that spark these xenophobic movement. But it's really striking a familiar chord here in France. We've been seeing this growing debate over the threat of Islam. Of course, this book that just came out by Michel Houellebecq, we've been talking about it in the French press.
Yeah.
All this is very familiar for French people.
Okay, let's move on to another region of the world now. Papers reporting on a very mysterious story. It's about a plot, allegedly, to overthrow the Gambian president.
That's right. There's a photo of the president, Yahya Jammeh, in the Independent today. It says that he's no stranger to coups. He came to power by overthrowing Gambia's first president in 1994. Now, this it's a weird story. Allegedly, two U.S. citizens, they're accused of trying to organize a coup against the president. It was a failed coup. Now, these two U.S. citizens are under a lot of scrutiny. They're reportedly, they were living the American dream, but plotting this from the U.S. The Daily Beast is also focusing on this. For instance, one of them is allegedly a quite successful businessman in Texas, former U.S. veteran. It's a fascinating story. If you're interested, there's a detailed account here in the Daily Beast.
Okay, finally then, we'll stick with an American publication. The New York Times has got some exciting news for astronomers and amateur astronomers among us.
Absolutely. Astronomers, rather, hard word to say, announced yesterday that they'd found 8 new planets orbiting their stars at a distance compatible with liquid water and potentially life.
So we might have some friends out there.
Might have some friends out there. That's what astronomers are trying to figure out. So this brings the total number of potentially habitable planets. They're called the Goldilocks planets. They're just right for life.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Not too hot,
okay.
not too cold. This brings this number to about a dozen. Now the next step is to try and explore these planets. But as you can see, it says so many Earth-like planets, so few telescopes. They have to choose a couple. Supposedly there's one that's quite interesting. It's called the most Earth-like alien world. And so this article in the New York Times says astronomers are quite excited because it could mean that, well, perhaps there is more life out there, but we don't know quite yet.